Okay, welcome everybody to today's class. I hope that's not too much light on the board. Let's try and quickly sort it out. Hopefully that's a bit better. Is it? Maybe it's worse. Not sure. So today we're doing phrasal verbs and idioms. In fact, it's mostly phrasal verbs. I think all of these are phrasal verbs that I found in one article in the press. In fact, I didn't even get halfway through. I think I got about 30% of the way through, and these were all the phrasal verbs that I found. And this should demonstrate that phrasal verbs are everywhere. And if you don't know them very well, then you'll struggle to read the newspaper or even to understand a simple conversation. And this is why I want you to buy my book. This book has loads of phrasal verbs in it. You can see it's quite thick. It's also got a lot of pictures in there. But if you look at the chapters, you'll see that it's got phrasal verbs with go, set, make, take, give, put, let, work, be, call, hold, and then it goes through all the prepositions as well. Phrasal verbs with for, back, to, away, from, against, over. So you've got a lot of phrasal verbs in this book. Please buy this book. It's my book. You can buy it from Amazon, but you can buy it from me as well as a PDF copy if you send me an email, or I'll even put some details under the video of how you can buy this book as a PDF. I have another book as well, my grammar book, and I'll be selling that to you in the grammar lessons as well. But if you want both books together, I can do you a discount, so do get in touch. Now, all of these phrasal verbs were found in an article in the press. And this article in the press was about coronavirus restrictions, which unfortunately means that I'm going to get angry, I'm going to rant when I talk about what these phrasal verbs mean, because I think it's disgusting what's going on with all of these coronavirus restrictions. And it's hard for me not to get angry, not to get carried away when I'm talking about it. But the media is full of phrasal verbs, so it's an excellent place to find phrasal verbs. But really, any film, any TV show, any Englishman will use thousands of phrasal verbs. So let's get started. Let's get cracking. Let's kick off. It's a good phrasal verb. Let's kick off with to ramp up. Okay? Now, to ramp up is exactly the same as to step up and to jack up. I keep telling you to learn these phrasal verbs in clusters, in groups, and that's certainly how you're taught to use them in this book. And so when I hear to ramp up, I immediately think of to step up and to jack up, because both of these mean to increase or, when you ramp up preparations, you get preparing more intensively. You intensively prepare when you ramp up preparations. When you step up your efforts, you increase your efforts. When you ramp up efforts, you increase your efforts. So this means to intensify something, really, to intensify your preparations, to make them more intense. Okay, so they were ramping up preparations to get the children back to school. Now, of course, this is something I'm very happy about. The main thing that I complain about, that I whine about and moan about, is children not going to school, but also people not going on holiday, and also people not being allowed out for fresh air and sunshine. And so these are the things which really wind me up. And in my opinion, it's medical totalitarianism in every sense of the word. Okay, so to coincide with, when two things coincide, they happen at the same time. You might know the noun coincidence, which is when two things, random things, happen at the same time, and it's just a coincidence that they do happen at the same time. But to coincide with means to happen at the same time. So if you say my birthday coincides with Christmas Day, that means your birthday is on Christmas Day. It's not true for me, but I do know someone whose is. Okay, to catch up with your work, you need to do this when you haven't been able to get that work done. And so you need to catch up with your work. You need to do that work because you weren't able to do it. Now, of course, this is talking about pupils, because pupils haven't been at school for about almost a year now. And that means that they will need to catch up with a lot of work, a year's worth of work, because we've forced them to sit at home in their bedrooms playing computer games with no friends. And of course, this is terrible for their mental health. And if you are one of these people that thinks this is a good idea, I'd rather you didn't come to my channel. because this is for free education, this channel. And if you're against free education, I don't want you here. Okay, so to dish out means to distribute. Yeah, a bit like hand out, give out, both mean to distribute, to give something to lots of different people. Now, this article was talking about dishing out jabs. If you don't know what a jab is, it's an injection. It's an informal way of saying an injection, a jab. So when you're at school, when you're about 14, you very often have your tetanus jab. I certainly did when I was at school when I was 14. And they're talking about dishing out coronavirus jabs, obviously, because that's all anybody thinks about now in the medical world, just one disease, and it's coronavirus. That one disease seems to be prioritised above cancer and other diseases which are much worse for you. I don't know why. I don't think it's a good thing. Now, to dish out, yeah, it means to distribute, so they're dishing out jabs to everybody. They want as many people as possible to take their vaccine. I don't want it. If you want mine, please just say and I'll send you mine. And to dole out, at the bottom here, means to distribute money. It's usually money dole out. When you dole out benefits, for example, you're handing out benefits, but you usually dole out money. But this also means to distribute at the bottom. Try to memorize these phrasal verbs in clusters. It really will help you. Okay, so to fall behind with their work. So kids haven't been at school for about a year, and so they've all fallen behind with their work because we've denied them education. So the children are falling behind with their work. They need to catch up with their work. Notice how these two phrasal verbs are connected. Yeah, there's a link between the two of them. When you fall behind with your work, you need to catch up with your work. And you can fall behind with anything. You can fall behind. Yes, Rishi Sunak is doling out money. You can fall behind with your rent payments, for example, and then you need to catch up with your rent payments or you'll get kicked out of your house. So notice all those phrasal verbs I'm using there, and notice how it's natural and fluent to do so, because phrasal verbs are real English. Okay, so we've also got to send something out, which is really similar to dish out, dole out, hand out, give out. They are different. There are nuances in between them. But send something out just means send loads of things to lots of places. So the government have been sending letters out to try to get people to have a coronavirus test. They've been trying to persuade people, trying to talk people into having a coronavirus test. Again, notice how easy it is to use phrasal verbs. They're everywhere. Talk somebody into means persuade. Okay, so to hold out for something. This one's an interesting one, and yet it's certainly in the book. Now, when you hold out for something, you're waiting for it to happen. You're expecting and desiring it to happen. Okay, when you're holding out for something. I can't remember what Boris Johnson was holding out for. He was holding out for something ridiculous, no doubt. But if you say the England or my football team, maybe you support Manchester United. If you say they are holding out for a win in the next match, it means they're expecting and wanting a win in the next match. It means they need a win in the next match, maybe to win the league. So they're holding out for a win in the next 3 games. Yeah, but maybe you're holding out for a good mark in your next exam, meaning waiting and hoping for that good mark. Yeah, so I think Boris Johnson was holding out for coronavirus restrictions to be lifted by the summer, something like that, something bizarre, ridiculous and highly unlikely. Okay, a falling off of something means a decrease of something. Okay, when you have a falling off of infection rates, it means infection rates are falling. And you can say it's strange to see it here as a noun. I do agree this is a phrasal verb being used as a noun, but we do use it like that. You can say infection rates fell off, meaning they decreased as well. So this to fall off is very often used to describe a graph or to describe a decrease of something. Okay. To be struck down by means to be infected by something, usually a virus, to be struck down by a virus. So please note how similar this is to come down with a nasty virus. You come down with a virus, you get sick, and you are struck down by a virus, you get sick, yeah? Okay, I'm sure you are fed up of home learning, and I think you're absolutely right to be fed up, and I'm sorry that your A-levels were called off. Notice that phrasal verb, cancelled, called off. I'm sorry your exams were called off, and I'm just as angry about it as you are, and hopefully we will take all of these people to court one day, and I'm serious, we need to fight this in the courts, in the legal way, and not on the streets with petrol bombs. Okay, so to run rampant means to spread very quickly. They were lying, they were pretending that some kind of deadly virus has been running rampant in Sussex or Surrey or some part of England. And so they're saying that the virus is spreading terribly quickly there and we better not send children to school. And I want to make it clear that you could say the virus was rampaging through the population. This is very similar, and I think rampage and rampant are connected. I'm pretty sure that's the same root. So to run rampant means to spread very quickly, okay? And yeah, rampage through, spread very quickly, leaving chaos in your wake. If you remember that from the previous lesson, you could say the virus is rampaging through the population, running rampant, leaving chaos in its wake, something like that. I don't think it's true, but something like that. Now, to build up means to strengthen or to increase, but very often strengthen. So you can build up defences, something like that. But you can also build up immunity, because immunity is a type of defence, of course. And so I'm sure that all of us here build up our immunity by eating good food, by fresh air, by sunshine, and by other things that are quickly becoming illegal. Okay, so to drive something away means to force something to go away. And so here they were talking about driving away the virus, okay, forcing it to go away. And of course, they can only think of one way to do that, and it's with this magical vaccine that's supposed to fill you all with hope that one day you will go back to becoming, well, to being a free person. But I don't like hopes and promises. I think it's best not to trust these kind of ideas. So yeah, they're expecting a vaccine to drive it away. I'm not. I'm expecting that vaccine to keep us in a permanent state of imprisonment. Now, if you turn something down, you reject it or refuse it. Yeah, usually you turn down an offer. And I think that this, in the article, they were talking about testing everybody in this area, all 80,000 people in this area, talking about testing them to see if they got the coronavirus. And somebody said, I think it's very unlikely that anybody will turn these tests down. Now, I certainly would turn these tests down. I've already spoken to the local director of public health to ask if untested children will be denied education, because this is important for me. Will untested children be considered less than other children? Will untested children be treated as inferior to other children and be denied an education? It looks dangerously like this might be the case one day. And so I will be turning down all offers of tests because I think they're a waste of time. And they're not only a waste of time, they're making things worse. They're causing people not to be able to take their children to school. So they're closing down schools. They're stopping people from working in their offices as well. And the more people get tested, the more likely it is that we'll need a vaccine just to work or to fly, which is, of course, absolutely disgraceful. Now, they're rolling out the door-to-door testing. To roll something out means to start a new program or project, something like that. So if you roll out door-to-door testing, you start this program. And you can roll out anything really, any kind of program or project that you want to get started. You roll out a vaccination program, you roll out door-to-door testing, you roll out any new project or plan or program, okay? You can carry out testing as well. If you want a way of saying to have a test, not to have a test, to do a test really, you carry out a test on a person. Yeah, and so they're carrying out this door-to-door testing, okay? To set up means to establish a new business, but you can also set up testing centres. You can set up a new business, you can set up a testing centre. So this is very often to establish some new business or even a testing centre. Okay, to stamp something out means to eradicate, to completely get rid of something. Yeah, and so they're trying to stamp out a virus. which is ridiculous because you can't stamp out viruses. They're here forever, and they have been here forever. You will never get rid of coronaviruses. Let me make that clear. You're not going to stamp them out. No matter how many times you vaccinate everybody, there will still be coronaviruses here, and they mutate every year because that's what they do, and they change. And so the idea that you're going to stamp this out is pie in the sky. It's hope. It's some kind of dream for children. Okay, if you hand something back, you give it back. Yeah? So if I give you my pen and then I say, hey, hand it back, it means give it back. And news gets round, news gets out. Yeah? So I can't remember the sentence, but if you say the news has got out that Boris Johnson is going to be arrested for war crimes or for crimes against humanity, I think that's realistic. So if the news gets out that he's going to be arrested for crimes against humanity, it means everybody finds out about this and everybody thinks it's a great idea and we should put him in prison, send him down, throw away the key. Okay, thanks everybody for watching. See you soon.